You ever look at something and just ask yourself, why? Just why? Well, I've been sick recently, and that's given me a lot of time to read, so I've been checking out some new Marvel comics, and I came across their Age of Revelation comic line, which features the X-Men and a bunch of other Marvel characters in a dark future timeline. And I gotta say, wow guys, never been done before. Crazy new concept from the House of Ideas. One particular comic caught my eye for all the wrong reasons and has been the subject of some internet controversy for a little bit of time now. Marvel has still not addressed it. And that is their latest MAGIK comic series. MAGIK becoming a beloved Marvel character, especially because of the popularity with Marvel Rivals and all that. But she got her own little comic series in which she is raped into becoming a villain that the X-Men can go beat up for a little bit. So I bet now you're the one looking at the screen asking yourself, why? The first reason it's controversial is because it's just a bad story. There's some spelling mistakes in there. It's a rehash of the concept of alternate timelines with X-Men. It's a rehash of MAGIK's origin story as someone who dealt with child sexual abuse. But also because she's a character who kind of represents that whole struggle and how she overcame it and everything, to have her go through it all again, it's not only lazy that they're just recycling that story, but it's also just kind of a slap in the face for people who are fans of that character. Is not just the fact that it's cruel towards this particular woman character, but that it perpetuates the history of women in Marvel Comics and just superhero comics in general and how they've been objectified and tortured just for the sake of doing so. Off the top of my head, there's plenty of Marvel stories I can think of where this has happened. You have the Avengers not doing anything when they find out that Captain Marvel has been raped by her future son. There's the incestuous relationship between Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. Nate Gray hooking up with his mom from another dimension. There's even a term called fridging, which comes from DC Comics, where Green Lantern's girlfriend was murdered and stuffed into a fridge. Just violent murder for the sake of shock value more than anything. The fact that an entire term has been made for the objectification and the cruelty of women in these kinds of stories goes to show that maybe they haven't been treated so well throughout, this very popular medium and this very popular genre within that medium. So in the big 2025, for Marvel to put out a story where they take one of their most beloved characters and they treat them in such a way that basically everyone feels like we should have moved past. It wasn't good then, but especially now where those stories have existed and culturally we've moved past it, you'd think that Marvel wouldn't put out a story like this, but I guess they didn't really care and they still haven't addressed the controversy. But it is good to know that people are calling out Marvel for all of this. That is, I think, maybe the best thing that comes out of this just lazy, not well-made story that perpetuates the objectification of women in superhero comics. The fact that you have all these fans demanding higher quality from the stories that they're delivered, and also just putting their foot down and saying, hey, we shouldn't treat half the world's population this way in one of the most popular genres and one of the most popular mediums of storytelling. But also, don't send death threats to the writer and the creators of the story either. At the end of the day, it is just a story. It's gross and weird, but yeah, just don't do that. If you have any other weird stories of comics you've read, maybe something that I did not come to me off the top of my head in this video, or whatever your thoughts are on MAGIK, the character, and the way she's treated in this story, please let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna try and feel better, but until then, take care of yourselves.